Hey everyone. Concerning the economically unstable times that we live in, it is a great idea to convert some of your savings into real money. Now, there is a big difference between real money and what we call money, which is actually currency. So, our dollar is currency, which fluctuates. Real money, like silver, is a store of value over time. The best way to think of it is like this: if you had saved $1,000 in cash back in the late 60s, the late 1960s, that $1,000 would still be $1,000 today, but it would buy you significantly less today due to inflation. Now, if you saved that same $1,000 in silver back in the 1960s, it would be around $28,000 today. So one of the best ways to protect your purchasing power is in real money, more specifically, silver. Now, you can buy and have the metal shipped discreetly to your door, and what most people don't know is that you can actually convert your IRA or even your 401k into physical silver rather than having all your life savings tied up in the paper fiat system, which is, of course, subject to hyperinflation. So go to dailyrenegade.com right now and click on the Cornerstone Asset Metals banner and sign up to get your free silver report. One of the financial experts will speak with you and find out the best way to protect your savings going forward in these uncertain times. You can also click on the link in the description below that goes directly to cornerstoneassetmetals.com. Make sure you tell them that Josh Peck at Daily Renegade sent you. It is time to stop trusting the evil beast financial system of the world and protect your assets today.
Hey everybody, Josh Peck here. Man, we got an exciting, very strange announcement. Many of you have probably heard of this discovery, but there's some new information that we have to talk about. If you're not familiar, recent archaeological findings beneath the Giza pyramids in Egypt have sparked a lot of interest, with researchers now expressing really high confidence in the existence of some kind of vast underground city, basically under the pyramids. And this discovery prompts intriguing questions for us Christians familiar with Genesis 6 and the Book of Enoch. So could this subterranean complex relate to the Nephilim or pre-flood civilizations? So let's examine the evidence and integrate further details from recent reports and consider its implications from a biblical worldview. Before we get into it, I would ask that you please subscribe, click the like button, comment your thoughts on this, and when you do subscribe, click the bell to turn on all notifications so you know when we post a new update video. Also, I will say, if you want the show notes for this, if you want basically all of the information in written format, there's a couple different ways you can do that. One of the best ways is JoshPeck.substack.com. And what's great about that is you also get the audio-only podcast if you'd rather listen to the podcast and not have to deal with the video. You know, if you're doing chores or if you're driving in a car or something, a lot of people want just the audio only. So you get the audio-only podcast, and then you also get everything that I say, all the information in a blog post. So that is joshpeck.substack.com. It's only $5 a month or $50 a year. If you can do it, I suggest doing the $50 a year because it is cheaper in the long run. And then also added on to that, you can go to dailyrenegade.com and get a membership there. For members, I make these available in PDF format. If you actually want to download it and have the file, you can save it to your computer for later use or later reference. And again, it's the entire script. It's all of the information, and it's it looks real nice. It's in paragraphs with headings and titles and everything. So if you want that, if you want to download the PDF, and then if also you want all of our full videos that we do, full episodes of the Sharpening Report, stuff that we don't put on YouTube because of censorship issues and other reasons, dailyrenegade.com, get a membership there. It's only $10 a month or $100 a year. And once again, I suggest getting the $100 a year because you save money in the long run. Really, the best of both worlds is to pair those two subscriptions and get both those. Then you get everything. And of course, that really helps us out a lot. But I'll give some more information on that at the end of the video. So let's get into this. So if you're not familiar, If you haven't heard, a team of scientists, including Italian researchers, utilized what's called high-frequency electromagnetic waves, specifically synthetic aperture radar, or SAR, to investigate beneath the Giza plateau, focusing on the Khafre pyramid. The findings suggest a network of wells, chambers, and structures extending over 4,000 feet below the surface. The team, which presented their results at a press conference in Italy, claims an 85% or greater confidence level that these features indicate a deliberately constructed, quote, vast city, end quote, which could potentially reshape our understanding of Egyptian history. Now, obviously, the big question is, how could ancient people way back then create something like this? But we'll get into that in a minute. Additional details from contemporary sources such as the Daily Mail from March 25th of 2025 and Euronews from March 22nd of 2025 elaborate on the findings. So, led by Professor Corrado Malanga of the University of Pisa and Filippo Biondi of the University of Strathclyde, the researchers identified vertical shafts, some 33 to 39 feet in diameter, descending over 2,100 feet, with deeper structures at 4,000 feet. They also detected what they describe as spiral staircases, large chambers, and evidence of a water distribution system carved into limestone platforms. Project spokesperson Nicole Sicolo, I believe, hinted at a connection to the Halls of Amenti, a mythical Egyptian repository of ancient knowledge. And we're going to be talking about that in just a moment. But perhaps most striking is the proposed age of these structures, up to 38,000 years old. Now, we don't want to get into the old versus young Earth debate here, but this estimate, if substantiated, that far exceeds the conventional dating of the Giza pyramids, which is around 2630 BC, and predates known human civilization by much longer than previously thought, aligning with timelines some associate with pre-flood events. For us Christians, versed in Genesis 6, this discovery reminds us of the Nephilim, described as offspring of the sons of God and human women. The Book of Enoch, a non-canonical text widely studied in some Christian circles, portrays these beings as advanced, imparting forbidden knowledge to humanity before the flood. That's from Enoch 7 through 8. So could an underground city of this scale and antiquity be a remnant of their influence? Well, if the 38,000 year dating holds, it situates this complex in a period potentially preceding Noah's flood, a cataclysm that buried much of the antediluvian world, Genesis 7:11 through 10. The Nephilim, often interpreted as giants or mighty beings, might have constructed such a city as a stronghold or center of their activities. The subsequent deluge could have entombed it, with the Giza pyramids later built atop its ruins by a post-flood civilization unaware of what lay beneath. That would be quite a coincidence. But this hypothesis, whether they knew it or not, it aligns with the biblical narrative of a corrupted pre-flood earth that we learn about in Genesis 6:11. I will also say that I have written about this in my book, Cherubim Chariots, which you can get at prophecywatchers.com. I have a whole chapter on ancient technology, and I talk about the pyramids and the Sphinx, specifically about what kind of technology would have even been able to create this, and how there's even water erosion on the Sphinx showing evidence of a flood. I've also talked about that in other videos, so I don't want to rehash that here, but I just wanted to make mention, if you're interested in that, Cherubim Chariots you can get at prophecywatchers.com. While you're there, don't forget to check out my new 2-book set called The Final Cataclysm. Links in the description below. You can find that at prophecywatchers.com, or if you want like Kindle or audiobook, there's also links to Amazon, so description below. But anyway, so this gets into the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, and If you're not familiar with that, the Emerald Tablets are a collection of texts attributed to Thoth, an ancient Egyptian deity of wisdom and writing. Now, before continuing, I must stress that to us Christians, this would be the writings of fallen angels promulgating a false religion in the ancient past that is contrary to the teachings of the Bible. But it is interesting that there are mentions of something that might pertain to this new discovery under the pyramids. So let's break all this down.
You know, no one gets into full-time ministry to make money. At least no one should. Given that, Daily Renegade accepts donations from those who care to help keep us going. Now, because Daily Renegade does not want to be told by the government what we can and can't say, we're not 501c3, so your donations are not tax deductible, but that's not why you're giving anyway, to get something back for yourself. Speaking of which, we here are never going to promise that if you donate, God will reward you with even more financial success. We're not about making promises for God here. But what I can promise is your donations are very much appreciated and help the continuation of everything we do here at Daily Renegade to reach the world with the truth of the Bible. Also, as many of you know, my son Nathan has had some very serious medical issues that we are treating with good, all-natural and holistic remedies. But of course, those are very expensive and are not covered by insurance, so your donations help go towards his health care as well. If you can't afford to donate, you can always donate your time in prayer, which is far more valuable anyway. Let's be serious. So pray for our wisdom, pray for God's guidance for us, and that we never lose focus on what's really important, which is using Daily Renegade as a light of truth that the world so desperately needs right now, especially in these times. As always, thank you so much for your generosity, and I pray God blesses you greatly.
First, there are two distinct versions of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. The first, known as the Emerald Tablet, singular, is a short, cryptid, alchemical text from the medieval Arabic tradition, dated to around 800 AD, in the Kitab Sir al-Khalika, or Book of the Secret of Creation, and that's attributed to Apollonius of Tyana. It speaks about universal principles like as above, so below. That's where that comes from, but offers no specific claims about Giza. The second, more relevant here, is the Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean, a modern work by Maurice Doreal. Published in the 1940s or early 50s. Doreal, an American occultist, claimed to have discovered and translated these tablets in 1925 beneath the Great Pyramid, asserting that they were written 38,000 years ago by Thoth, a survivor of Atlantis. Now, isn't it interesting that that number of years, 38,000, comes up again here? Yeah. Probably more than just a coincidence, but Doreal's tablets consist of 15 chapters of poetic, esoteric prose, blending themes of Atlantis, alchemy, and so-called spiritual wisdom. Now, unlike the medieval text, they explicitly describe structures and secrets beneath Giza tied to Thoth's narrative of fleeing Atlantis and establishing a new order in Egypt. Scholars widely regard this work as pseudo-historical, lacking physical evidence or academic corroboration, but its allure persists today, especially among those exploring alternative histories. Now, unfortunately, this new discovery in Egypt under the pyramids will probably only spur on those beliefs among people who are involved in these kinds of deceptions. That's why we Christians need to be aware of this, and we Christians need to know how to talk about these things. But this is what fallen angels and demons do. They will take some kind of physical truth, such as about a structure under the pyramids, then create a whole anti-biblical belief system around it, teach it to humans, and then, when the physical discovery is made, it further cements those humans into that belief. One example is Edgar Cayce predicted that there would be Atlantis found off the coast of Florida or something, and then sometime after that, the so-called Bimini Road was found. Again, that could have just as easily been demons know that that's down there. Demons told Edgar Casey that, and Edgar Casey believed it and thought that everything else that he was hearing was real, and then so relayed that to everybody else. This is what demons do. This is how they deceive people. They'll take some truth and then mix it in with some lies, and then give you the whole thing and claim that it's truth. Now, continuing on, the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean, make bold assertions about what lies beneath the Giza Plateau. In Tablet 1, Thoth declares, quote, "Raised I high over the entrance, a doorway, a gateway leading down to Amenti. Raised over the passage, I, a mighty pyramid, using the power that overcomes earth force." End quote. He describes constructing the Great Pyramid as a temple, not a tomb, over a portal to the halls of Amenti, a subterranean realm deep within the earth. So this complex, he claims, houses chambers and a force house with a circular passage nearly reaching the pyramid's summit, where a crystal channels energy from the ether to connect with time-space. Other chambers, seemingly empty, conceal keys to Amenti, accessible only to the spiritually purified. This is why you get people like from the Ancient Aliens crowd that say that the pyramid was like a giant power station. We don't know exactly what the pyramid was, but this is why we got to be careful with this stuff. But regarding the Sphinx, Tablet 5 states, quote, "Deep neath the rocks I buried my spaceship, waiting the time when man might be free. Over the spaceship erected a marker in the form of a lion, yet like unto a man," end quote. So Thoth suggests the Sphinx marks the location of a hidden vessel from Atlantis preserved beneath the Giza Plateau alongside the halls of Amenti. These halls, detailed across the tablets, are portrayed as an underworld where the children of light sleep, periodically incarnating to guide humanity, and where Thoth himself transcends death. Now, again, I have to emphasize, this is channeled material. This is stuff that either this guy just made up, or more likely, fallen angels and demons were telling him this stuff, and he was channeling that and writing it. So for Christians, these claims resonate with Genesis 6:4. The giants, or Nephilim, were on the earth in those days, the heroes of old, men of renown. And the Book of Enoch expands this, depicting the Nephilim as offspring of fallen angels, wielding advanced knowledge before the flood, in Enoch 8. So the tablet's 38,000-year timeline, if taken literally, predates conventional history and aligns with a pre-flood era. So could Thoth represent a Nephilim figure or a fallen angelic being constructing these subterranean realms before God's judgment that we read about in Genesis 7:11? The halls of Amenti might be a buried legacy of this antediluvian world, with the pyramid and Sphinx as enduring markers of the horrible sins and constructive capabilities of fallen beings. But again, we have to keep in mind the source. These are all this information from the tablets are coming from fallen angels and demons, so we can't trust it. But it is interesting that these discoveries are now being made. So, and speaking of which, these discoveries have fueled speculation. So again, for a brief review, in March 2025, researchers using synthetic aperture radar reported vast structures, shafts, chambers, possible staircases extending 2 kilometers beneath the Giza pyramids. As noted in News 18 and Euronews, some connect this to the halls of Amenti, though no excavation has confirmed it. Now, earlier, seismic studies by Robert Schoch in the 1990s detected cavities under the Sphinx, which caused many to connect it with Edgar Casey's 1932 prediction of a hall of records from Atlantis beneath its paws. Now again, I must issue a quick reminder that even if physical artifacts are ever found and verified, it would not mean that what is said by the Emerald Tablets or teachings from Edgar Casey are actually true. It would not mean that. It would only mean that demons or fallen angels knew these things were down there, and using that knowledge, they spun a story to deceive mankind. That's what they do. They'll give you just enough truth to make you believe all their lies. Now, mainstream academia dismisses Dorriel's tablets as fiction. No emerald tablets have surfaced in museums, and the oldest writing known dates to 3400 BC, which is far short of 38,000 years. Egyptologists like Zahi Hawass reject claims of vast underground cities, citing geological limits and the lack of peer-reviewed evidence. And you can read about that in the Jerusalem Post from March 26th of 2025, if you're interested in that. Radar expert Lawrence Conyers argues current technology struggles to map structures at 4,000 feet deep. You can read more about that in the Daily Mail, March 25th, 2025. And that suggests natural formations or smaller cavities instead, at least to him. I'm skeptical of that, but still, it bears at least mentioning here. The medieval emerald tablet, while ancient, mentions no Giza secrets, further isolating Dorriel's narrative as a modern invention, possibly inspired by the occult revival of the early 20th century. It seems like at that time everybody was channeling demons and fallen angels. So for believers, this finding under the pyramids offers a couple different views. Awe at God's creation, of course, and discernment regarding its interpretation. So if authentic and ancient, it could challenge secular timelines, placing the earliest cities around 7,000 BC, suggesting a more complex pre-flood history consistent with Genesis. The notion of a Nephilim-built city resonates with the biblical depiction as men of renown, and Enoch's accounts of their knowledge and capabilities. But Scripture remains our foundation. Extra-biblical speculation, while intriguing, it's got to be weighed against verified evidence. The research team plans further studies into late 2025, promising additional clarity. Until then, we Christians can approach this with curiosity and humility, recognizing God's sovereignty over history, of course, whether this proves a Nephilim legacy or a misunderstood anomaly. So as Psalm 111 verse 2 declares, "Great are the works of the Lord. They are pondered by all who delight in them." So this discovery, whatever its origin, invites us to marvel yet carefully seek truth by not allowing ourselves to fall into doctrines of demons. So that is the breakdown of the whole discovery with what's underneath the pyramids. Of course, we will keep you updated. So do make sure you subscribe. Do make sure you click the bell to turn on all notifications. If and when any new updates come up, I'll do more videos on it. And yeah, okay. So that is all for today. Thank you so much. And until next time, love you all. Take care and God bless.
Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed the first half of this episode of the Sharpening Report. If you are a Bible-believing Christian who opposes the kingdom of darkness trying to run the world right now, then you are a renegade to the satanic system. We here at Daily Renegade wear that badge proudly. So, if you're a renegade as well and you want to see the rest of this video, head on over to dailyrenegade.com right now and get a membership today. Not only will you get the rest of this video, but you'll get our full catalog of Sharpening Report episodes and Daily Renegade update videos on topics such as Bible prophecy, science, technology, the Nephilim, aliens, and so much more. All of our episodes at Daily Renegade are early access, so as a member, you'll get the videos before anyone else does. Daily Renegade also offers videos not available anywhere else due to social media censorship. We also have a community page only for members where we can all fellowship together without fear of censorship. It's basically the best of Facebook and YouTube rolled into one without any of the garbage. Memberships are only $10 a month or $100 a year, and if you can do it, I suggest getting the $100 a year because it's cheaper in the long run, and essentially you get 2 months for free that way. So come join our family of renegades at dailyrenegade.com right now. The link is in the description below, and we'll see you there.